Imagine for a moment that your life isn't really being shaped by luck or your circumstances or even how hard you work. What if it's being shaped by something way more subtle? The way you truly see yourself. Because whether you realize it or not, your self-concept is the silent architect behind literally everything you experience. Today we're going to dig into how to reshape it. So, let's just start with a truth that most people never really truly grasp. You do not get what you want in life. You get what you believe you are. Think about it. If deep down you see yourself as someone who always struggles, life is just going to consistently hand you situations that confirm that struggle. Have you ever noticed how someone who expects to be rejected, well, they often are? And that's the whole key right there. It's your identity, not just your actions. That's the real force of attraction in your life. It's like the invisible framework that everything else gets built on top of. This is why two people can do the exact same things but get wildly different results. See, one person is operating from a place of lack. They're chasing, they're struggling, they're just hoping. But the other person, they're operating from identity. They're embodying a state where what they want feels totally natural, almost expected. It's the difference between asking for a raise, feeling terrified of being told no, versus asking for it with the quiet confidence of someone who just knows their value. So, how does this actually work? Well, think of your subconscious mind as a projector. It doesn't analyze anything, it's purely expressive. It just takes the film, which is your inner world, and projects it right onto the screen of your reality. And the film it's projecting? That's your self-concept. And this isn't just a list of thoughts. No, it's the sum of all the beliefs you hold about yourself. Specifically, what you feel to be true in your quietest moments, when no one else is around. And that feeling, that is everything. And here's the core mechanic of it all. Your subconscious mind doesn't argue with you. It doesn't sit there and question whether your beliefs are true or false or helpful or harmful. It just accepts them as instructions and then works tirelessly to express them as your reality. So this is the fundamental shift. This is where everything changes. You stop chasing things on the outside. You stop trying to get success or get love or get wealth. Instead, you turn all that focus inward and you become the version of yourself for whom those things are just a completely natural part of life. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Let's break it down, because there really is a clear 4-step process for this kind of internal transformation. These are the 4 pillars for consciously building a new identity. First, awareness, so you can actually see where you are right now. Then, redefinition, to decide who you really want to become. Next up is repetition with emotion, which is how we impress that new identity onto the subconscious. And finally, mental discipline, to hold on to it when that old self starts to fight back. Let's look at each one. First up, awareness. You have to start observing your inner world without any judgment. And it's not about the loud, obvious thoughts. It's about that quiet, subtle voice in the back of your head. The one that whispers, "Of course this happened to me," when something goes wrong. That little voice is your current self-concept. And you just can't change what you aren't aware of. So once you're aware, you can start to redefine. And the most powerful way to begin is by asking yourself this question. And really sit with it. Who would I be if I already had everything I desire? How would I think? How would I carry myself through the day? Now, you take the answer to that question and you define it with absolute clarity. Write this new version of yourself down. Be vivid. Get into the details. Your mind really needs a clear blueprint if it's going to build something new. Okay, now this is where most people go wrong. They just repeat empty words like affirmations with no power. The key is repetition with emotion. Words by themselves don't do much. Belief is created by feeling. So when you affirm your new identity, don't just say the words. Pause for a second. Embody what that version of you would actually feel like. And finally, we have mental discipline. Look, your old identity is not going to go down without a fight. It's going to show up as doubt, as fear, maybe even as events in the real world that seem to prove it right. This isn't a sign that you're failing, it's just resistance. Your only job is to not react as your old self. You have to choose in that moment to respond as the new one. And this all leads us to a really crucial mindset that makes this whole process click into place. And that is the power of detachment. So what do I mean by detachment?
It means that a strong, solid self-concept isn't constantly looking outside for proof. It's not checking for validation. It doesn't need the world to confirm who it is. It simply knows. It moves with this quiet certainty that things are lining up, even when there's no physical evidence just yet.
You have to trust this fundamental law. The change on the inside, that shift in your identity, it always happens before you see the reflection in your outer world. Always. There is zero exceptions to this. So let's bring this all together. When all these pieces come together, the awareness, the redefinition, the discipline, and the detachment, it creates the ultimate shift in how you operate, from a life of constant doing and forcing to a state of becoming.
If you take one thing away from our time together, let it be this. Stop trying to force outcomes through sheer effort and will. Instead, redirect all that energy inward. Start becoming the person for whom those outcomes are simply inevitable.
Because when you truly change your self-concept, something profound happens. Attraction, that magnetic pull for the things you want, it's no longer an action you take. It's not something you do. It just becomes a natural byproduct of who you are. So I'll leave you with this question to carry with you. Sometime today, just take a quiet moment and ask yourself with genuine curiosity, who am I becoming? And maybe more importantly, are you ready to fully embody that person? Because the moment you decide you are, everything starts to change.